Hey St. Luke, we are back here with episode 2 of St. Luke Stories, and I'm really excited to bring this one to you as we walk through the journey of 2 women here in our church that have suffered a real tragedy, but with the help of God and through grace and mercy have turned something that was just a horrible, horrible thing into a ministry opportunity that has impacted hundreds of people here in the Chattahoochee Valley area and beyond. Gabriel's Gowns is a fantastic ministry that is really pointed at newborn or infant babies who have passed away at childbirth, and the parents don't know what to do. They're not prepared for that moment. And this is where these 2 women come in, and they just provide and they showcase the love of God through gifts and preparation in just what is a very difficult time, and they lean on those own experiences. So enjoy the video. Keep these women in your prayers as their ministry continues, and you're more than welcome to help them out in what they're trying to do as well. They detail that later on in the video. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Hey everybody, Bryce Kuhn here. We're back with another editions of St. Luke Stories. I'm here with Kay Dennis of Gabriel's Gowns, and we were kind of talking about before, but I want people to know, and I may know, people behind us may know, but kind of the origin story. What is Gabriel's Gowns?
Gabriel's Gowns is a ministry of gowns being prepared, hand sewn by seamstress, and the gowns are available to parents who have lost a child.
When this started, and I know that we just wrapped up a blessing of the gowns where you were talking, just about the people, and you walked in and you were all talking about how it's just so a special thing to see people stay after a service and just spend time. Maybe they didn't know about it. Maybe they wanted to learn more about it. Has this grown exponentially even within the year, in your opinion, of kind of beyond your dreams?
Yes, we started out small with, I guess the start of it was, we feel like God put this on our hearts as we reflected back during those times that we were grieving and missing our grandson, but also giving thanks to God for the time that we did have with him. And that was 36 hours, so we were able to be with our children and him, and we reflected back on the ways in which God's love was shown to us during that time. And then we felt like it was put on our hearts to show that love that we were given to others, whether we knew them or not.
You talked about kind of reflecting Christ's love through this. At what point kind of in that process, and kind of how far out from it were you like, this is something that I think that we know other families go through as well, and how can we help ease the burden, give them peace, and also, like you said earlier, show that love of Christ through something?
Well, it was amazing, the love we felt, both families felt, from our church family. The comfort and the peace that we were given as they reached out to us, showing that we were not alone, that God was right there with us. They were right there with us. Strangers who we have never met, we were had the chance to share similar stories. And I guess we found within the last year in sharing our story that there are a lot of folks out there that have been on the same journey. And we were able to share in the times that we felt the love of Christ through others.
You talked about the love of Christ through other people, and I know that you've seen starting off small and then people coming together. What does it do for your heart to be able to see something that started off as an idea come to fruition, like we saw, on Sunday with a blessing of the gowns, and over 80 gowns there, and just people who've really kind of poured into this ministry, whether you know them or not, and what's that been like for you?
God's faithfulness and His promises have become more evident. I have been more open, I believe, to see His handiwork through this ministry, and to realize that truly all things are possible through Him.
So after the gowns have, been sewed together and kind of the job of the volunteers has put together, what's kind of the process after that? And we have obviously right here, we have a box that kind of shows what the family receives, but kind of walk us through what that looks like.
Okay. Well, after we got several gowns together and we thought, we found the first place we thought to take gowns was the NICU. And our thoughts were what would comfort those parents as they received this. And so in addition to the gown, they receive a little pair of socks that match the gown, also a little cross they can hold on to with a prayer card in there, something that they can cling to that's got the word of Christ with it, because I think Kay mentioned earlier, He is your only comfort during that time. We also give them a little note that just explains that our whole purpose is just to bring them comfort and God's love through this. And we have a place where the seamstresses can sign. So whoever made this gown would sign this card, and the families receive that. We don't have any way of knowing who receives these. We don't get feedback from families. However, we do have a Facebook page, Gabriel Gowns, and so they could contact us through that if they wanted to. So far, we've not heard back from any families, but we have heard back from the NICU. We also chose these boxes so that they could be keepsake boxes for the parents. And our children received a box from the hospital that had, his little prints and things like that in it. So they have a box that they can keep all those mementos in. And, we've so far taken gowns to Piedmont's NICU, to Martin Army Hospital. We just delivered probably about 15 gowns there this week. We've also shared gowns through the funeral homes in town. And God's just opened those doors one at a time through various people and different means. We really haven't gone out just knocking on doors. That He has just put situations in front of us to say, take gowns. It's been amazing, Bryce, because He's just shown His love to us through this whole process. And these beautiful little gowns, like Sunday when we had them all across the altar in the sanctuary, it's just breathtaking. But then it's sad to know that every one of those little gowns will go to a family who are suffering like what we've been through. And just the thought that if we can put the love of Christ, or some of these people might not even know Christ, and maybe that's the seed planted to bring somebody to Christ, who later will raise their children knowing Christ. I mean, we don't know how far this can reach. One of our seamstresses said Sunday, it's like a pebble thrown in a pond. And we're just through a little pebble, and God is making those ripples happen.
Well, I want to commend you and Kay as well, because this is something that obviously, without the Lord, this response and this might not have come about in a situation like you all are facing. And so I think that's, even in the face of tragedy, the Lord can continue to make good things happen. And so in the case of Gabriel, who has no idea that his story is affecting people every single day, that is truly the beauty of God's love. So I commend you on that. And like you said earlier, it's not what you're doing, but you are listening to the Lord. You are kind of giving it up and just saying, Lord, wherever this takes us, we wanted to continue to follow that. So it's very exciting, and we're excited to continue to support that with St. Luke as well.
Thank you for helping us share the word.
Yes, ma'am.